Oops, we just started the recording. We're going to give it 2 minutes before we go live. In the meanwhile, some people have gone ahead and introduced themselves in the questions box. Jeff from First Team Sports, not currently doing Amazon, but looking to learn about it. Awesome. Rosalind from Dallas, Texas, medical supplies company, just started doing Amazon at the beginning of this year. Doing some sales now, but would like to get to about 50% of sales. Oh yeah, fantastic. So good. This is a group that has a real needs and a real vision of where they want to go. Kevin from Titanium Buzz, just starting some sales, but need to look at some growth as well on Amazon. Hey Kevin, how are you? Dale from Mary's in San Diego, want to do Amazon, tell Logan to get to work. All right. So we'll give it 1 more minute. Oh, I guess it's 2:02. You guys ready? Should we do this?
We're ready. Do it. Let Amazon begin.
Hi, folks. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to talk about Amazon. We really want to get people, and it seems like we've got this echo here from the questions box. We want people who are truly interested in building their Amazon, and they're sick of doing things that are just based on price slashing and whatnot. And they understand that to win in Amazon is not just to be in Amazon, but to market yourself in Amazon. Only those who are actually marketing themselves in Amazon are truly going to win today. So we're going to show you how to do that. Quick introduction of Exclusive Concepts. We were established almost 20 years ago. We've been on Inc. 5000 every year since 2008. Growing because our clients are happy, they stick with us, and we keep expanding what we're doing. We have 6 core service teams. One of those core service teams is Marketplace that covers everything from Google Shopping to Amazon. Nolan and Logan are both from that department. Logan is the head of that department. We have over 200 clients. We focus on delivering the best performance in our industry. We define performance as profit, meaning we want to deliver the highest profit possible. We are full service. We help our clients attract new customers to the website or to their Amazon listings, convert those customers into paying customers, and then retain them over a lifetime. We have over 100 employees, and we're headquartered in Boston. We're going to cover a few different things here. For starters, for those of you who really want to understand why Amazon has changed so much and why this is the right time for you, we're going to talk about Amazon growth and why Amazon. Then we're going to share our vision of how one single product gains momentum in Amazon. This is going to allow us to explore this concept in greater detail, and it's going to give everyone not only a vision, but some details in terms of what they could do. And those components of the vision are paid, creating paid momentum, organic, achieving organic dominance from the paid momentum and some other techniques, improving conversion rates by focusing on the page itself, and then getting the right insights from the right reporting. And we'll do some QA at the end, so as you have questions, please ask them. We're going to answer some of the questions that we think have a good low common denominator to them. The ones that are more specific, we may follow up after, so that we keep this relevant for everyone. I'm going to pass it to Logan right now to talk about the story of Amazon and why Amazon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nick. So we started with some marketplace statistics. And I think this one is almost one of the most telling ones you could possibly show, and it's that in 2014, Amazon accounted for 26.1% of all e-commerce sales. It's kind of astounding when you think about it, that one site or one marketplace could account for such a large percentage of e-commerce. And in 2015, it was actually closer to 30%. So this, the point of this slide is that if you're not selling in Amazon, you really kind of need to be there. And then, the next slide we have 58% of that revenue is accounted for by third-party sellers, much like all of the merchants who are attending today. So that means it's not just all Amazon, buying these products and selling them themselves. It really does, the kind of the beating heart of Amazon is made up of third-party sellers. Some of these sellers are quite large. 33% of the IR top 1,000 already sells through Amazon, but there are tens of thousands of merchants who do under $1 million a year. So it really is a marketplace where you can see success kind of no matter your size. And then I think this is maybe the most telling slide of all, and you know, a statistic that's really kind of jaw-dropping is that when we look at the number of product searches that start on Amazon versus Google, it's really staggering. So when we look at the 2013 data, 30% of product searches started on Amazon versus about 13 on traditional search engines like Google, Bing. Fast forward to 2015, and that number for Amazon has jumped to 44, meaning 44% of product searches are now starting on Amazon. Google and the traditional search engines are growing as well. So this is great, right? This is great for all kind of e-commerce sellers. It shows us that e-commerce is growing as a whole, but Amazon is still kind of outpacing or outranking Google in terms of the number of searches that starts there. So to us, this is a big reason, you know, as Amazon grows, as they grow their presence in e-commerce, as the number of people searching on Amazon tends to increase each year, each month, you as merchants need to be also increasing your presence on there and investing in getting more sales, more visibility through Amazon. And we actually did a survey here at Exclusive Concepts at the end of 2015, and it was all about marketplaces and specifically Amazon. One of the most telling statistics from that survey was we asked if merchants need help with Amazon strategy, creating a holistic Amazon strategy. And a whopping 81% of merchants said yes, they definitely need help creating a strategy. It seems like people want to invest in marketplaces and specifically in Amazon, but they don't always know the right ways to invest in it, and they don't really know what levers to pull or how to do it. And so that's why we created this service at Exclusive Concepts that we'll be going over today, which will be, you know, kind of explain to you what you can do and how you can take a holistic approach to your Amazon marketing.
Awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit about, and this is to give everyone a strong visual in terms of how are you supposed to envision your success in Amazon. And just think about it as each product has to go through a holistic chain of events to become a superstar in Amazon. The chain starts with building momentum through paid. Paid starts to create certain signals that can be used on the organic side for more organic visibility and sales. So there's actually a direct correlation there. Once you have this traffic from both organic and paid, your hits to your page increase dramatically, and your need to improve conversion rates, or rather the value of improving conversion rates, also dramatically goes up. If you can nail these three things properly, get paid done the correct way, take advantage of the organic signal that comes from that, and also improve conversion rates, you're going to have more sales than you possibly could have through any other set of techniques. So let's envision this. Let's imagine you have product X, and product X right now is your product. When you search for it for its key terms in Amazon, it's living in obscurity. It's on page 4, meaning pretty much no one is actually looking at it. So the first thing you want to do is boost that ahead of all these other established products. It's not going to be easy to boost organically ahead of all these established products unless you have some catalyst. So we start with sponsored ads. Choose the keywords, do a good job in terms of monitoring the right fit between product, keyword, and cost. And you're going to start to make sales and have that visibility exactly where you want it to be. It may be the first time that product starts to see real sales. When you start to make sales, Amazon begins to measure it, and the number of sales over a certain period of time is the definition of sales velocity. If sales velocity is increasing, which it will when you do sponsored ads, then you get to utilize that towards organic results. Sales velocity is the key organic signal that Amazon is looking for to say, okay, This is a hot seller. This is a great product. Now, what is this product optimized for? Because we should start showing it up for any keyword that it's optimized for. And it starts showing up for whatever it is organically optimized for. You have an opportunity at that point to go into the keyword fields. It's the main source of optimization. Go into the keyword fields. There's 5 of them. You can have up to 1,000 characters for each of those 5 fields and fill in roughly 1,200 words so that Amazon, that likes you now as your product, can start to show you for up to 1,200 different keywords. Just think about how much extra organic traffic you're going to get. So now you're getting sales and visibility from paid, and for free you're starting to get all this organic because you paid. And you're holding down 2 positions at the top if you hold them both. Finally, with all this extra traffic, you want to start focusing on the actual product page, because a lot of eyeballs are on this page right now, and what we find is most of these pages are not written to be compelling enough. They're missing a lot of things. They're missing all these opportunities. They're not reading the reviews to find out what's important to people. They're not adding any value to the product by discussing certain aspects of what makes this product special. They're not talking about the needs that are met, and they're surely not trying to have an emotional connection with the reader. This is the vast majority of pages. But if you meet this criteria, then we see roughly a 10% plus increase in conversion rates. Now, this is a great vision. What we want you guys to be able to do by the end of this, to achieve this superstardom of high sales from paid, high sales from organic, and high conversion rate, is start to understand the details of this particular strategy. Logan and Nolan are going to go through the details of sponsored ads, organic, and conversion now, so that this doesn't just seem like a lofty concept out there, but something that you understand exactly how to execute against. Or if you work with us, the details of how we would execute it on your behalf. But to recap, we need paid momentum that leads to the right organic signals, and then take advantage of that with keyword fields. And then with all that traffic, do conversion optimization. One of the things that we're going to offer to everyone who's listening right now is to go into the questions box and type in free Amazon analysis. Here's a screenshot of the first page of the analysis. What are we going to find out with this analysis? And once again, it's free. We're going to find out if you're using advanced sponsored ad techniques, which we're going to cover today. We're going to see how many products are a perfect fit for sponsored ads based on the products you already have in Amazon, how often they're winning the buy box, how often they're converting, what their price point is, what your margins are, what the cost per click is. All that math is going to be computed to help you find out how many of your ASINs are a good fit. On the organic side, we're going to see how you're currently optimizing, and also define how many products are a perfect fit for this technique. On the conversion side, we're going to see how effective your current approach to content writing is, whether or not there's anything there that we believe talks to the emotional value props review aspect. And if you're missing all those points and you have these products that fit the criteria of being able to surpass the investment dollars needed to improve the content, then we're going to suggest that technique as well. So we're going to do a full diagnostic to identify what techniques you're already fit for, what products are already fit for those techniques. So I see a lot of people are already asking for this. Thank you. And we'll be following up after. I'll mention this one more time later on in the presentation. Remember, this is where you go, questions box, you just type in free Amazon analysis. Nolan and I will be presenting that to you. And we're looking at about 1 week out right now in terms of being able to do this, but it's first come, first serve in terms of people asking for it right now. So I'm going to hand this off to Logan and Nolan to start getting into details, starting with sponsored ads.
All right, thank you very much, Nick. So let's get to know sponsored ads. First thing we want to jump into here is what exactly is a sponsored ad or sponsored product. So what it is it's a paid ad, which you'll see on the next slide here. It's a paid ad that appears above the search results on Amazon also on that right-hand rail there. They can also appear on the product page below the actual listing. They might kind of blend into the recommended products or the similar products area. Those are the three main places where these ads can show. So to Nick's point, this can give you kind of that instant visibility on page one. And if you go back just for a second, when we talk about these ads, they are on a cost per click model, much like Google or Bing ads, where we have a high cost per click might make us eligible for more options and more general keywords. And lower cost per clicks are going to make us eligible for fewer options, but some of those more specific kind of long tail keywords. And there are some kind of key differences in terms of Amazon's algorithm versus Google's algorithm, which Noel, I know that you have a couple of points on.
Just staying on this slide, I think a key difference to kind of understand, because we've all been so programmed to understand how Google's algorithm works. But there's a key difference that Amazon has that Google doesn't have. Google can't determine that the person find exactly what they wanted. Or Amazon definitively knows that did a sale happen or did it not. Amazon really wants to get their 15%, as they call it, a referral fee. So they want to give results that are most likely to lead to sales. So if that blue and green basketball is going to sell a little better than the black one, they're going to put it above there. So that's where this kind of just kind of taking that understanding of what they're trying to do in terms of ranking is they're trying to get products that are selling the most. So if your product can sell a little bit better than the black basketball, you're going to rank a little bit better than it. So we're going to talk about how if you increase the conversion rate, you're a little bit better. If you use sponsored products, you have more visibility, you have higher discoverability, you're going to see more conversions from that, and it all kind of leads to the better rankings on our search on Amazon.
Excellent.
Guys, really quickly, one person said the audio is bad. I just want to make sure that it's isolated to a small handful. Can we get a quick check? How is audio right now for everyone? Okay, that sounds perfect. All right, great.
Okay.
We're going to move on to the next slide.
Yeah, all right, let's jump to the next slide. So why do we use sponsored products? Well, one of the big reasons is because we want to gain visibility and sales on Amazon, but we don't want to significantly slash our prices or sacrifice our margins to do it. So it used to be, before sponsored products, to get this kind of organic visibility for your products, you'd have to significantly lower your prices to drive more sales, a greater conversion rate, and thus greater visibility and greater relevance in Amazon's eyes. So it was very tough to kind of get onto the first page of results and drive the actual sales velocity needed to unseat some of these more dominant players. But with the advent of sponsored products and the ability to be able to pay for that top of page ranking, for that right-hand sidebar ranking, right there on the front page of the search results, that has given merchants kind of a second chance, I guess you could say, at appearing in these results and getting this momentum that you couldn't really get very easily before. So we go to the next slide. Another great reason, and this is actually a picture of the three of us playing volleyball last week, but another reason to do this is that we want to play defense. So while we tell our clients who are newer merchants that sponsored products is a great way to jumpstart your sales, to get more organic ranking and more organic results, if you're a more dominant player, if you're on the first page of Amazon results, you want to be playing defense. You want to make sure that your position of dominance doesn't get unseated. So it's just as compelling a reason to have an ad there to make sure you're trying to keep competitors at bay and do what you can to maintain your position there and to keep all your hard work intact. So that defensive play is pretty important as well. So the other really compelling reason is that if you're a merchant with a lot of products, you might think that, oh, I only have a few products that are really good targets for this, and they're the only ones that are kind of really popular on Amazon, and it's not really the case. Any product that wins the buy box, at least some of the time on Amazon, is eligible to be featured in sponsored products. So this means that you have lots of targets. Basically, almost all of your products in your catalog are eligible for opportunities at increased visibility and increased sales. Cool. So this is kind of a funny one. I'll let Nolan kind of describe what's going on here.
Great. I could supply a little bit of humor here. But so Amazon is really trying to, both in the organic, like I said, I kind of said on the last time I chimed in, but they're trying to give results that are going to lead to sales. But they're really also depending on, I guess this is upon there with depending, they're depending on you to kind of say what your terms are about, what searches you think you should be appearing for. And as you can see here, this is a search for shoe tabs, so you can see the word tabs in there. So yes, all these words probably have the word tabs or shoe or something associated with those two words in there. But on the sponsored product side of things, just because it's got the word tabs in the search, it's probably why it's matching here with this product, which is an adult diaper that has the word tabs in it. So relevancy is being accounted for, but on Amazon, they're so heavily going out after sales velocity. This is probably a good selling item for them. And that, hey, they see the word tabs, this item's related to it. This person set up a sponsored products campaign through, and we'll get to some of the targeting options in a second, but there's one that's a kind of a broad targeting, automatic targeting, where because they were doing well on sales, because they probably had an aggressive bid, they're appearing there. So if you can do some searches on your own in terms of searches you really care for and kind of look at the sponsored product ads, and if you see some kind of peculiar or even humorous results, it could be a good sign that you're a good fit to kind of be trying this out and putting a product in place that matches better. Again, Amazon's trying to give results that lead to sales. So if you have an actual shoe tab as opposed to this, and your sales are better than this, you'll be able to get in there at a lower cost per click in this item here. So I think there's definitely an opportunity if you see something that's, hey, that's odd there. Let's see what we can do on the sponsored product side.
Yeah, we really do see that it's an immature market. It's something we see irrelevant search results come up all the time for these searches, and it means that people are really taking a non-strategic approach, which means there's a lot of opportunity. If you do want to take that kind of more holistic strategic approach to really get in here and blow a lot of these competitors out of the water, so to speak.
Let's really quickly emphasize the profit concept here as well, because it's one thing to know that the competitors are not doing what they're supposed to, but it's another thing to realize through this example that Amazon is actually not very smart with its algorithm. I mean, even with Google Shopping, one of the most important things that we do on a day-to-day basis is add negative keywords to try to prevent an ad from showing up for the wrong keyword. And Google is by far the most sophisticated algorithm for search. This is out the Amazon algorithm right here. It's not sophisticated by any means yet. If you're doing sponsored ads the wrong way, you are trusting Amazon to choose how your money gets spent. If 95% of your clicks are from irrelevant keywords, then your dollar's only worth 5 cents. That's why we need more control. So there's a huge profit concept here where if you start to control how your products show up in sponsored ads, you'll be able to take advantage of a huge loophole that exists in the Amazon algorithm because they keep getting it wrong. But if you do it yourself, you can get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be showing everyone in a few slides exactly what kind of control mechanisms we have and exactly what you can do to really get this right. So here we have the final and probably the biggest opportunity, which we've alluded to several times already in the presentation, is that sponsored products is not just about achieving sales in a vacuum through paid advertising. There's a huge opportunity for these sales to affect the sales velocity of your products and give you a huge organic boost. So that's really kind of like the big picture here, the holy grail of what we're trying to achieve, and we'll show you kind of how that works as we go through. So there have been a lot of advancements in the sponsored product user interface. We talked about 6 months ago, they added the ability to have keyword match types for you to be much more specific, much more granular, much more targeted in your approach. A lot of these things are if you're familiar with Google AdWords, which I think a lot of the merchants on the presentation are today, you'll recognize a lot of AdWords-like features and controls being put in. So we have the keyword match types. We have the negative keywords, which Nick just talked about, the ability to tell Amazon what searches you don't want to show for, tell them you don't want to have your adult diapers show up in shoe tab searches. And we also have the ability for manual and automatic campaigns, which we'll get into in a moment, but there are two different types of campaigns that have unique benefits and unique drawbacks. So the point here is that with all these advances, we're definitely seeing that a more strategic approach is needed to maximize your effect here and maximize your sales and revenue. We saw the Depends product coming up for a shoe tab search. You don't want to be that merchant who's just there using all broad match keywords and using a non-strategic approach. There's a way to do this and a way to do it right, and we'll be kind of walking through that in our next section here, which goes over the sponsored product ads methodology. Here we are. So let's talk a little bit about this. Nolan, can you tell us a little bit about the difference between automatic and manual campaigns?
Sure. I think to put it in kind of language that we're very, very fluent in is kind of looking at an automatic campaign as kind of almost your Google Shopping, where it's relying on the title as well as the description to determine which keywords you're relevant for. So you can see in that example one word there that was probably triggering on the automatic campaign, and probably as a whole that campaign's positive and it's probably profitable for Depends as a whole there, but it's definitely being watered down by certain searches that aren't as beneficial there. So from that data, as well as kind of maybe existing data you have on the AdWords and kind of Google Shopping side of things, you can start to build out more exact match or phrase match campaigns, once again using that same kind of targeting that AdWords has had available for a long time, but it's only the past 5 or 6 months where that's been available on the inside of sponsored products there. So you'll start to find words that you know you want to appear for. You sell for X and you want to appear for that. So you can start to create these campaigns that are really targeted and that aggressively go after words you really, really care about.
Yeah, I mean, we think about automatic campaigns. I think the main benefits to us are that you can appear for a whole big universe of search terms. Now the downside of that is, we touched on that some of those search terms aren't always relevant. But to Nolan's point, we get to cherry pick those, put them into very organized, strategic manual campaigns, higher bids, higher budgets, and we can start to create these economies of scale similarly to what we do in Google AdWords to get our best return on investment.
Just like on a Google Shopping campaign, I mean, there is a search query report where we can start to see the words that are kind of racking up the most amount of spend. So we'll find ones that we want to leave in place, but we'll find ones that we want to kind of snip off and kind of make the campaign more efficient. So anyhow.
Yeah. Yep. And then so that brings us next to how we target these campaigns. So what we like to do is we like to have one product per ad group. And this is not something that we would ever really do on Google or Bing, because it becomes a very bulky campaign structure, and on Google in particular, it's just kind of harder to manage. But the reason why we do it this way on Amazon is because we actually get the opportunity, if it's set up this way, to see which search queries are triggering each product individually. So being able to get that data, it's very compelling. It allows us to optimize, in a bunch of different ways, especially if we have, a bunch of similar products. We can see, we'll get into that and kind of what we can do to test those. And then we can also prioritize the high-value products. So as we do our buy box win percentage analyses, as we start to calculate the sales velocity of the products, which ones have a higher opportunity to, as they rank higher organically, to give you the most revenue as the seller. Those are some of the ways that we kind of prioritize and target these items to get the most bang for our buck, and also to set them up in a way that gives us the most visibility on the back end in terms of the reporting and what we're able to analyze, and gives us really actionable data sets to optimize the campaign around. And that brings us to optimization. So Amazon actually has fewer levers to pull than Google AdWords or Bing Ads. But I think because there are fewer levers, the ones that we do have to pull are more important. And I think most importantly, the way that we use the data and that we grab the data to look at these bids and budgets and negative keyword additions, being driven by that data is probably the most important thing that we keep in mind. And Amazon doesn't always supply you with the most meaningful data sets or the data sets that have all of the metrics you need in one spot. So, it's something that we have done quite a bit of work on the back end, customizing these reports that can make us very data-driven in our approach to the campaign optimization. So while it is, really kind of decreasing bids and budgets, adding negative keywords, a lot more of it is about how we're making those decisions. We have match types as well, which allow us to get more and more specific as time goes on and more targeted.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we do the best coming from the Google Shopping background, coming from a tech stat background, is we do a really good job and put a lot of attention towards taking this universe of searches that are coming in that are related to all your products and making sure they match to the right one. So in the next slide, we do a pretty good job kind of explaining where, kind of how we go about trying to test which product should appear with which one. So yes, in this instance, light bulbs would appear for both of them, and we'd probably want to test which product actually does the best for the term light bulb. So looking at the search query backend, if we have it one product per ad group, we can kind of filter our exported data set and look at all of our search terms that include the word light bulbs and then see which one have the greatest rate of return. And oftentimes, the product that's getting the majority of the spend, the majority of the clicks, is not the one that's the greatest rate of return. So if we have this one product per ad group, we could run a test where we add a negative on that one that's getting the lion's share of the spend and give a chance to some other ones that are not. Because Amazon really tends, if they find that one product that's getting lots of clicks and racking up spend for them, they don't go out kind of testing all your other products. So it can be a more general term. There can be one product that well over 75% of the spend is eaten up by that one item.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that that brings us to kind of one of the more organic aspects of Amazon, which actually can work from a paid standpoint as well, and that's the keyword field optimization. So what we're going to do right now, we're just going to run a little poll. Nick, I think you have that queued up about the keyword field in the back end of Amazon.
All right, we're launching right now. It's interesting, the conversation about how the controls, the cockpit of Amazon is not nearly as robust as Google AdWords. We're getting into the secondary benefit of sponsored ads right now. If AdWords had a secondary benefit and you started showing up organically in Google because you started doing AdWords, we wouldn't need so many controls. So we would do the basics and enjoy off of the organic side and take advantage of that as much as possible. Every single person here would be doing that all day long. Do a little bit of AdWords to get organic boosts and then focus on the organic side. So it's amazing that we can do this on Amazon. Okay, so we'll close this out in 3, 2, if you don't know, just guess. 1, and wow, that just got several more votes, and we're closing, and we're sharing. Okay, 45% try to fill at least one phrase in each of the 5 keyword fields. That makes perfect sense. That's what we're hearing from most people. Nothing, no idea is the second most common thing we're hearing from people as well. It's amazing to see that 21% of you are trying to fill all 1,000 characters for each of the 5 fields. You're doing it the right way. Any comments?
Yeah, I'll weigh in there first. I mean, this is something that, I guess 6 months is kind of a lifetime on Amazon, but this has changed 2 separate times over the last 6 months. Originally, it was 5 50-character fields about kind of around Black Friday then. So you really had to pick your 250, the only 250 words to pick, or characters to pick from. So you had to really be kind of really specific about what you wanted. And then about 2 months ago, they opened it up to about one field that was 1,000 characters, and then kind of opened that up. And now it's 5, in most categories, some categories that's still kind of some older rules there. Most categories it's 5 different 1,000 character fields. So you can be very exhaustive in how you populate this field. It's not saying we want to make sure you use every word with anything somewhat related to it, but there is a much bigger universe of words you can be populating that, which will allow you to open up for more searches.
Yeah, I think here, I'm going to say, Nick, I think here that we're going to get into some of the kind of common pitfalls, and the distribution we see here with this poll is actually very telling and kind of representative of what we see with accounts that we audit, is that most people kind of have something there, and very few people are actually trying to fill all 1,000 characters, and even of those people, there are some certain pitfalls that might befall you as well. So I think this next section will actually be pretty insightful for everyone.
Yeah, we have a lot of great questions. We're not going to answer all of them right off the bat, but we're going to get them. There is one question that is pretty timely. When does this end? So we're going to be going into QA in just about 10 minutes, and at that point, the questions that you ask are going to start getting addressed. So hopefully that helps. We're going to go right back in.
All right, so we're talking about the keyword field and the purpose of it. So filling out all those 5 fields with 1,000 characters each, what that gives you the opportunity to do is to send signals to Amazon about relevant keywords that you want your products to appear for. Sounds kind of too good to be true, right? If you could do that for Google, everyone would be millionaires, and we'd all be we'd be happy. We wouldn't have an SEO team here at Exclusive Concepts. But what this does is filling out this field. It doesn't make the products rank higher organically. It just gives them the opportunity to kind of, I'll use Nolan's phrase, to try out for different words. And if you can build a sales velocity on a certain word, then you've struck gold, and you've hit a gold nugget, and then you can rank much higher organically and get more sales and rank higher, and it's kind of just like this great positive feedback loop. So on the next slide, we talk about quite a few common pitfalls. There's a lot of ways that you can fill out this field incorrectly. So the first of which being duplicate words. Not only words being duplicated within those keywords in the back end, but words being duplicated from your titles, descriptions, and features. So Amazon only needs one instance of a keyword for you to be eligible to appear for it organically. So there's no actual benefit at all to duplicate the keywords, and I think we see most merchants actually kind of put a version of their title and features into these fields, and they might try to put a couple of phrases, but the duplicates are just kind of waste of space, and they don't really do anything.
And sometimes even the commas, there's kind of a little bit of a debate in the community, but it can, as opposed to being garlic press, comma, they might just look at the word as press, comma. So you really want to remove the commas out of there in particular. Because when you're looking at the sponsored product side of things, there's a point where they give you suggested keywords. And if you have the commas in place, you'll see that there are very few suggested keywords. If you start to remove those commas, you do that same kind of sponsored products build, and now they have this whole universe of suggested words. So it's definitely something we want to, you definitely want to clean that up, and this can be something that has kind of an overnight impact in terms of which the number of searches you're now able to be eligible to appear for.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how kind of rudimentary Amazon's algorithm is, and they're not recognizing punctuation and commas as something that they're not a part of these words. They'll probably fix that at some point, but for now, it's just you do have to remove these from the keyword field. So the third pitfall here is that there's not enough synonyms and related keywords to the product. So this is where you get the most benefit and the most kind of juice, in terms of visibility. You want all of the possible, keywords, every single possible keyword someone could type. If you have bow tie, men's, man, boy, boys, bow tie, all of those kind of permutations, you want to get those in there. And then we see that very few merchants actually take a truly systematic approach to identify and prioritize these keywords. So they're kind of throwing a few in there and calling it a day, but there's actually quite a big benefit that you can get, as we talked about, from truly populating this field correctly. So on the next slide, we have an image of a poorly populated keyword field, courtesy of Nolan.
Probably not 41% there.
So tell us about this image.
This was a client that we kind of took over their account for, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of blacked it out to keep them kind of anonymous there, but I mean, it was really just, they had a rule-based situation where it was kind of taking parts of their brand, parts of their product type, and just putting them into the search term field here. I think there was a point where they did get to do some kind of, there was a keyword field component to that last bit there, but this is pretty common, I think, and the poll kind of spoke to that too, that when you get as a chance kind of after this webinar to go to your inventory feed, look at the product, click that edit button, get in there on the keywords tab on an individual page for you and kind of look at what you have there, because odds are, or not, it's not odds are, but there's probably a good likelihood it's not taking full advantage. And again, it's been just 2 months since that 1,000 limit has applied to all 5 fields. So it's not it's not that your lack of attention is just it's changing really fast. But once again, I mean, it's a big opportunity for you.
Exactly. So at Exclusive Concepts, as we developed this service, we thought about the ideal methodology in terms of how we go about populating this field. And the first one, kind of a no-brainer, is to use our clients' AdWords accounts. We manage very many AdWords accounts, and we can harvest some very very critical kind of relevant keyword data from those accounts. We can use BrightEdge, which will also give us a whole other universe of keywords, including their search volume. We look at Google Analytics to look at your site search data to see exactly how people are searching for the products. And then as we run sponsored products for you, we are looking at the search query reports, because people will search a little bit differently on Amazon than they will on Google. So we want to be able to incorporate all these keywords from all these different sources, and we want to be able to prioritize them in a way that makes sense. So we do prioritize them based on search volume, based on their expected conversion rate, and based on the revenue potential. So I think being able to do that and clean them and format them is a much more systematic approach, and that's kind of the approach that we take here to supercharge these keyword fields.
And just quick mention, BrightEdge is for SEO rankings. It's the most pervasive enterprise-level SEO tool, and it allows us to choose per page that you have on your website to define what you rank for, and all that data can be plucked out, harvested, and populated into a keyword field.
Yeah, exactly right. So all this is going to play favorably with your Amazon ad rank as well on the paid side. So we're kind of going back to the paid side for a second here, where if we're doing these keyword optimizations and we're selling men's bow ties, if we don't have the word boy or boys bow ties in the back end, or somewhere in that product title or features, then you're going to end up paying more money for that keyword through Amazon sponsored products. Now, if we have that exact kind of permutation, or that exact number of keywords in there that are exactly the same on the back end as the keyword that we're bidding on in sponsored products, that's going to lead to a higher relevance. It's going to lead, much like Google AdWords, to lower CPCs, higher click-through rate, and higher conversion rates. So filling out this field does have benefits on the paid side as well.
So specifically, it's very similar to Google AdWords' ad rank formula.
Yep, it is very similar to that. It's just kind of like the more keywords you have in your product or in the back end that are matching the keywords that you're bidding on, the more relevant Amazon is going to see that, thusly lowering your CPCs. And we all know that more relevance is going to lead to all the good things: higher click-through rate, higher conversion rates, etc.
I think at one point, just to reiterate what Logan said in there, in terms of if you're running a sponsored product campaign, you want to appear for a word. If it's not in there, you basically don't have a chance to appear for that. I think the bow tie example is a good one there. So it really can have. I mean, this keyword field impacts both organic listings, but also kind of what you're able to now do on sponsored products. So I think that's going to be a common theme as well, that each of these three kind of main pieces, they all interact with one another.
Excellent. So the next and final part here that we're going to talk about is premium product copy. So why do we focus on product copy? And the reason is that it's one of the only on-page elements that you can actually control to drive higher conversion rates. So we all know if you have a website, you can kind of change the navigation, change the layout, change the color of the add to cart button, add some trust messaging. Here, we really only have a couple of levers to pull. You can add new and different images, or you can enhance the product copy. So that's kind of the third prong of this approach that we have, is that as we're sending more people to your pages through sponsored ads, as the products start to rank higher organically and get more and more visibility, we're getting a lot more eyeballs on the product pages. So therefore, if we can do anything to increase that conversion rate, it's going to serve us very well. So here we see, here's an example of I guess, a product that doesn't have great copy. This is an American Eastern redbud tree. It's 3 to 4 feet tall. You can see that this merchant has not taken full advantage of the length afforded to them in the title. They could get many more things in there, like the color of the tree, you know, the seasons that it flourishes in, or you know, any number.
Yeah, more colors.
Yeah, you know, any number of other details or search terms that people could be using to find this tree. They could put that in the title. And then we see below that they only have 2 bullets. And one of them kind of reiterates what's in the title. It's 3 to 4 feet tall when it's shipped. And it's fast growing when young, which to me is maybe not the most compelling value proposition in the world. So what they should ideally do is, you know, take full advantage of the space available to them. And then we are going to show kind of a page that does have better content. And we see below here in the product description, they do have some good information here, but it is just kind of one big block of text. It's not easy to read and very easy to kind of glance over and just not give a second thought to.
Yeah, a lot of clients might be sending a feed that's right from their website right to the description there. And if you kind of look at your Amazon descriptions, you can see where Amazon puts descriptions. I think we actually had to cut this and then kind of piece it out there, but it's often way below, kind of below a line of suggested items, below a line of sponsored products. So the description is very kind of low priority on Amazon's eyes. So you really want to kind of take some of the elements there, put it up there. And as kind of Nick said, and one of those points was to also be kind of speaking to what people like about the items in there too. So if there's something that a lot of the reviews have in common with what they like about it, speak to it right off the bat. So don't wait for them to read 5 reviews until you're kind of talking about what it is that's really good about that product.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's an example of what we think is pretty good product copy. It was actually written by our copy team here at Exclusive Concepts, the Amazon copy team. So what we have, we see a nice, robust title, a lot of keywords in there. This is a particular product that is an outdoor speaker set. So you can see we have, you know, all-weather outdoor patio speakers. We have, you know, the wattage, the color. You know, all these different attributes that are right here in the title. We have the product number. So any kind of permutation that someone's searching for, whether it be, you know, kind of the features or the product number or some of the technical specs, they are in here in the title. Next, we move to the bullets, which I think do a great job of kind of showing what the value proposition is. We have 5 really good value propositions, and then how those value propositions are achieved. So, you know, these are kind of big and bold, and, you know, they're easy to read, and I can see, okay, they're outdoor and weatherproof. They have great sound quality. They're made of high-end materials. So we have a lot of kind of really good bullets here that take up all the space and that adhere to a lot of Amazon's best practices. And then on the next slide here, we have we believe is a much better, much more readable description. So not only is it kind of broken up, so it's easier to read, it's something that you may not just automatically skim over. You probably will take the time to at least read some of this, especially the parts that are bulleted. So we have, you know, some info that's kind of reiterating what we talked about in the features or the bullets. But then we also say what's included in the box, which I think is very pertinent info for someone buying a single product on Amazon, especially if you're showing the product along with some related items or items that are not clear whether or not they come with the product. Telling people what's in the box is really a good mechanism to increase your conversion rate, because it's going to give people more information that they need. They're not going to need to go anywhere else to know whether or not they want this product. And then in the specifications, the very bottom, you see that there's a 1-year warranty. So if you think about optimizing product copy for a website, one of the things that you do is you include trust messaging, some post-purchase assurances. And by putting the warranty information in the bullets in your description, you are kind of giving yourself an avenue to add some of these trust messages that might give people a much greater chance of converting and buying your product. All right, so I lied, that was the penultimate section. Here's the final section. We have just one slide here, a couple slides on reporting. So with this kind of three-tiered approach, with the sponsored products, the keyword field optimization, and the premium product copy, you want to be able to report on not only the effects of each of those, but how all of them work together in a really big positive feedback loop to give you more sales and more visibility, and thus more sales. So with the type of reporting that we give with this service, we start with sponsored products. We're overlaying your margin data and being laser focused on a metric called ACoS, which is ad cost of sale. So we know that it's important to be profitable on sponsored products. However, we think the much bigger picture is whether or not sponsored products is driving significantly more organic visibility in sales, which is why we give you a product level report, kind of this overarching report that gives you a view of all of your product sales, and more importantly, how sponsored products and the keyword field optimization has boosted the organic results of your products above and beyond what they were before. And so we have one kind of case study here. This is a client that Nolan managed, and I'll kind of key this up for you. We ran sponsored products over the holiday season last year, and the thing that I'll point out is that we achieved much more volume on Amazon than we did running very similar campaigns on Google Shopping. And I'll kind of let Nolan give a little bit more background in terms of what he did to achieve this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a client that they had an established Amazon store, but they really wanted to gain additional visibility for these, for the items that they were selling. I think they hit it right at the right time to kind of get right into this. So it was able to supply a big lift in terms of visibility. I think the number of page views was about a 40% increase over the year prior, and sure enough, there was a 40% increase in sales too. And kind of subsequently, in the months after it, we've seen lifts in organic rankings. So when we're looking at this reporting, we're trying to kind of, they give us reporting in terms of the directly attributable sales from the sponsored product clicks, and then the revenue associated with that, to try to take that away from kind of the overall metrics so we can see the overall Amazon reporting. And hopefully once we look at the organic before and the organic after, we've seen a lift there, and that's something we really want to be accounting for. So yes, again, we keep on saying we don't want to say, hey, you should have a poor advertising cost of sale, but maybe your objectives are to rank organically, and you want to be aggressive around that, so you can kind of open yourselves up to more searches to get more sales, and maybe you had a lower rate of return on those initial sales, but maybe you did push that visibility. You climbed on the ranks faster than you would have otherwise, and the benefits of that has now more than warranted the investment you made there. And this is a client that's been, I think we could even pause the sponsored product campaign, and they'd still have a great level of performance. But again, as we're kind of talking about in defense, you want to have sponsored products there to still kind of, you don't want to leave that opportunity up for somebody else, because it is, I mean, it's kind of a second shot on Amazon. People thought you missed the boat on Amazon, but I mean, I hope we're kind of impressed here that sponsored products is that chance to say you're not too late, and this is the right time to be getting right in there.
And to a timely question that came in, we used a 20% margin for Amazon, 30% margin for Google, so we did take into account fees.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. It's we know that Amazon is they're taking that 15+% commission, and then you have your ad spend on top of that. So we do know that we have to viciously kind of protect the margins, but we also know that the benefits gained from getting that sales velocity and even breaking even, like Nolan said, on Amazon sponsored products, that'll be far outweighed by the huge boost that you see in that organic presence, which is kind of like the big, the holy grail of doing sponsored ads.
Yeah, I mean, this really just shows, I believe, part of November and December, but it's really the main benefits have been the subsequent months that they've had following.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and these are for the same client in the same period of time on both. There's a question asking if it's the same retailer. It's one retailer, two different channels during the same consecutive time.
Yep, with a very mature Google Shopping campaign structure, and kind of just starting with us with Amazon. And as Nolan said, they saw a 40% organic boost year over year during the same time period, which was pretty astonishing and pretty amazing. All right, so there we have it. We talked about this three-tiered approach, these three prongs of the fork. We have sponsored products, getting more visibility for your products from a paid perspective, getting that sales velocity. As that velocity increases, your organic rank is increasing, and as we're optimizing the keyword field, we are eligible now to appear for more keywords organically, and then as we increase the velocity on those keywords, we're just getting more and more sales, which leads to more and more visibility. And then the final approach, like we said, is that premium product copy, which is going to give you a higher conversion rate after so many more people are already on the page, and it kind of acts as a nice multiplier there to get more revenue, more conversions, and more money overall for you as a merchant.
Yeah, and one last time before we go into QA here, if anyone does want us to take a look at their Amazon opportunity, the three major prongs of this holistic strategy are paid, organic, and conversion improvement. We're going to see whether or not you're using the right techniques for each of those three compared to what we would want to do and what we found to be most effective. We're also going to take your existing product sales on Amazon at the child ASIN level and identify how many of those child ASIN products have the chops to be part of a profitable sponsor program or have the right sales velocity and buy box metrics and historical sales. There are different parameters that we look at for organic optimization. And on the conversion side, we're looking for products that have enough traffic, have a very high buy box percentage, and have had enough sales for us to estimate that there will be a significant increase or it's a valuable significant increase if we have 10% boost in conversion. So this technology allows us to really hone in using your margin data, using all your costs on where you should be starting these three investments. All you have to do is type into the questions box free Amazon analysis, and many of you already have. Like I said earlier, we're booked out about 1 week right now, so we're going to be reaching out to people, and we'll be in touch soon. Myself and Nolan will be doing the analysis with you, so be prepared for us to go into some depth, and if you have any specific questions that you've been holding on to, you can ask ahead of time before the meeting or during the meeting. But we've got a lot of you that we're going to be following up with, and let's go into Q&A now. There are a lot of questions, and I'm gonna ask the questions that I think are meaningful to everyone. Okay. Start at the top. Do you need to be offering items on Amazon to be able to participate in sponsored ads? It's a good question for people who are doing PLAs before.
Sorry, Nick, can you repeat it?
Yeah, do you need to be offering items on Amazon to be able to participate in sponsored ads?
Yes, you do. You have to be an Amazon seller, selling in the Amazon marketplace in order to partake.
If my ad doesn't show up until page 3, is that because the other brands are bidding higher?
Yeah, that could be one of the reasons. I mean, just like on organic rankings, as well as, and same thing applies to the paid rankings. The only difference between the paid rankings and the organic rankings is that paid has the extra multiplier of bid aggressiveness. So the bid aggressiveness might be too low. I mean, but there is also this component of relevancy. So once again, we said Amazon does a pretty poor job of determining relevancy, but it's still accounted for. And then there's also kind of an understanding that historical sales are also playing in there too. So if your item's not selling at all, and maybe that other item is selling a lot, then you might have to kind of overcome some sales velocity to get there. But it should be something. So there could be a number of factors that go in there, but lifting the bid will be one way to increase rank.
Yep, I'm going to ask this question, although the answer may be nebulous. So if you guys would like to pass it, we just reach out to the person. That's perfectly fine. What does it mean when our category is not open to advertising?
Yeah, certain spaces, Amazon hasn't kind of opened them up to adult being one of them. There's certain things that they just don't want to kind of have their hands on yet. I'm sure these ad formats are kind of maturing. What they're allowing for ads is maturing. So it's just because your category isn't in there now, I'm sure Amazon's going to find some kind of way to squeeze a little more out of you there. But I think, I guess, hold tight, but we can also talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm combining these three together because it was all one.
Yep, definitely. It could be a pretty big overnight change for them if they remove the commas there. I know there is some kind of FAQ portions of Amazon that actually refer to the commas and they're ignored. But I have we've done some tests, also seen some of the tests that there is, by removing these commas, you do kind of see more organic rankings that you're now appearing for. So you definitely want to remove them, remove duplicates. You can do that kind of right now and do that pretty confidently.
Awesome. Next question, when you list on Amazon and there is another retailer already selling your product, are you still required to use their description?
Yeah, so what's going on there is because you're going to be sharing an ASIN, so it's the Amazon Standard Identification Number for what that stands for, and that means you're going to have to be linking to that buy box. I know we kind of mentioned the word buy box without exactly explaining what it is, but if you go to one of these kind of shared listings, you click the add to cart, whoever had that top listing, it was won the buy box in that particular session there. So initially out the gate, they will have the description. There are things you can do to kind of suggest changes. And eventually there's this content authority rank that can build up. So if you're a more reputable seller, if you're seeing more sales, there are certain things that you can influence it. But there are also kind of ways where sometimes the listing gets stuck. But we have had some good luck with trying for certain clients, ones where they think they couldn't have influence over, and sure enough, they are able to improve the bullets, improve the description, and change the title a little bit. I mean, Amazon wants this if packaging changes, images changes. So they have a format where they want this to happen. So they kind of view you as a good seller, helping keep the content good, keep the customer experience really good. But it can be be a hang up in some instances.
Yeah, do you guys know off the top of your head the answer to this one? How do you format the description with the bullets that we had for the speaker? And whether or not that's just a Vendor Central benefit?
So yeah, those bullets were formatted using basic HTML. I believe that in both vendor and seller accounts, you can use paragraph breaks and basic bullets, like kind of basic HTML like that.
Yeah, there are some HTML things you can use. Some you can't. I know I've had a few clients that have fed their feed in there, and then it looks all kind of funky because they were using kind of the trademark, which Amazon doesn't want the word trademark in there. Things like that. In certain instances, it doesn't kind of translate over, but there is some HTML available.
Okay. This is a good question for people who still have this question to answer. Some sponsored ads click through to the product page on Amazon, while other sponsored ads click through to the sponsor's website. What is the difference?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the ones that you click and it takes you to the sponsor's website, they no longer exist anymore on Amazon, except for there are some still like Google, like legacy, like Google text ad links. But in terms of what we're talking about, the product image, along with the product title, the price, those are always going to be ads that go to the Amazon product page for that seller. So there are no kind of external sponsored product links, but there are still some external text links from Google, because Amazon is a Google Search Partners network, or they are a search partner.
Yeah, they have confusing names. So it's sponsored products are the ones that you're sponsoring a product. It needs to be called product ads. And again, I think I mentioned the date, but it was October 31st. They kind of went all in on sponsored products and sponsored ads, and product ads were sunsetted. So we had a bunch of clients that were kind of reaping some really big benefits of the product ads. So it was definitely kind of sad to see it go for certain clients, but what it's really done and kind of alerted us, even kind of as us as kind of an agency that kind of helps advise our clients on how they best invest their money in these different channels, is that, hey, sponsored products can be a really, really big part of what Amazon is going forward. So it's big now, and it's only going to get bigger. I think something we haven't also mentioned is if just kind of as you're perusing Amazon yourself on your mobile device, you'll start to see sponsored products appearing right within the kind of organic rankings, or oftentimes maybe at the bottom of the rankings there. So sponsored ads are already very prominent, and it's going to be only increasing.
Question about when will we be sending a link to view this webinar recording? Yeah, the popularity of this webinar is pretty up there. I think what we'll do is we'll send out a link to the recording, and we have populated the recording for the last few webinars. We'll probably send them all together to everyone that missed, or even people who saw it but they missed part of it. Question, what about listings that are competing with a lot of other sellers who are not selling our own products? This is a good theoretical question.
Listings that are competing with a lot of other sellers and not selling our own products. So I think this is similar to ASIN. This is an ASIN question as well. Yeah. So again, this is an area where you're kind of battling for the buy box for. So there is this component of what gives you a buy box win. So there are these things that you as a seller have to do to kind of show that you're in kind of good standing with Amazon, and that's kind of good communication, hitting the shipping deadlines, having a thorough amount of inventory. But the big thing on this one is the fulfillment method. So the two different fulfillment methods that Amazon has is fulfillment by merchant. So that's where they place the item, you ship it right from your warehouse or wherever you have it, and then there's fulfillment by Amazon, FBA. That's where it has that Prime badging. So those are the instances where you ship 100 orders or 100 items to Amazon's warehouse, and then they're ready to go. Amazon takes care of the customer communication there and the shipping. So that's a big component, but then price is a tremendous one too. So it's 1A, 1B. Sometimes FBA might be able to overcome a slight difference in price, but it's price and fulfillment are the main two ones of how you're going to win in that case. But again, there's a way on your back end if you go into the business reports and then kind of go look on the detailed sales page by child SKU, and that's where this audit that Nick and I can run can really look at kind of what your individual buy box percentages have been, and if there's certain items where you have a good enough buy box win rate. Because we will find, and not just that quick analysis, you'll find a number of items that you're losing the buy box because you're 20 cents more than a competitor. You can maybe make some changes there. There also are repricing tools out there too that are worth looking into, and for some sellers there. But yeah, this is definitely an instance where kind of the audit will do a really good job of kind of assessing the ones that are going to be the biggest wins for keywords, biggest wins for content, and biggest wins for sponsored products out the gate.
Yeah, and keep in mind those are the three techniques: sponsored ads, keyword optimization for organic, and product listing content for conversions. You may not want to do product listing content for conversions if you're not winning the buy box 80% of the time. That makes perfect sense. You may not want to do keyword optimization for a product that you're not winning 80% of the time, but there's still that's a threshold that you can determine based on how profitable that might be. On the sponsored ad side, it doesn't matter if you're winning 80% of the time. You only can do a sponsored ad at the exact moment that you have won the buy box. So if you have a product that you're selling with 10 other people and only 10% of the time you own the buy box, only in those 10% of times are you going to be eligible to pay for that click. Meaning every time you pay for a click, when the person gets onto that page, you have won the buy box. So you really don't need to worry about it that often. If you're even 1% or 10% owner of that buy box, it's still a perfect product for you to do sponsored ads on. It just means you can only do it 1 out of every 10 times.
That's a tremendously good point there, Nick. I think one that I'd really like to be a good takeaway on that, because it is something that clients think that just because I have less than a 20% overall buy box percentage, I don't want to be supporting whoever else the 80% of the time has the listing. It's only the cases where you have it, and kind of from an account management side of things, when we have it broken down on one product per ad group, I can see cases where there's been sales for an item and kind of good sales, and it will say this item is not eligible for sponsored products. And sure enough, you look at it, it's because it's no longer in the buy box at that point that I was just then looking at it. So maybe the last month it was in the buy box, I saw some sales for it. When I was looking at it right then and there, it was not. And then Amazon automatically kind of pauses the spend for that listing. Sponsored products, I mean, they've really tried to make this one where they're rewarding early adopters, people that are kind of jumping on this train early or kind of seeing the benefits from it. That's why you have Depends over there kind of flooding the spend there. And and they're probably still making a lot of money from it as a whole. So there's a big win to be had just kind of being an early adopter, but there's a bigger win to be had in the long term if you're kind of doing it in the right way.
Yeah, this is a good follow-up question to kind of reshape and just pivot on the same topic here, give it a different perspective. Do you have a recommended cutoff of buy box win percentage to determine which products you should or shouldn't be using for ads? Let's separate this out. A product that you win the buy box on, you're going to close the person that is looking at the product page at that moment. That does not mean that that product is proactively showing up for all these keywords. Those are two separate steps. So if you are winning the buy box on a particular product at any given moment, you want that product to start showing up for more keywords. That's why you sponsor the ads. You sponsor it for visibility, not to win the product page. So you have to separate those two out. It means that any time you're winning the buy box is a good time for you to get visibility. Every product has a good probability for sponsored ads. When Nolan and Logan were talking about using automated versus manual, think about the crux of that. What they're saying is the more important keyword, the more important products are going to have much more manual assertive optimization to them. But every product, even products that are weak performers, can have an automated campaign with a low bid for long tail exposure. Every product has a place somewhere in the spectrum of sponsored ads. It's our job to find out for what keywords, how aggressively, and what bids. Your keyword strategy seems similar to what was popular on Google before they released penalties for keyword stuffing, i.e. Penguin, April 22nd, 2012. Do you see Amazon updating their algorithm and becoming more strict like Google did? If we enter 2017 and the big news is that Matt Cutts and his entire team from Google have cut their pensions with Alphabet and want to go start working for Amazon that is unprofitable almost every quarter, then we have to start thinking about whether or not that's scary. I can't possibly imagine Amazon having a very sophisticated algorithm, which is why they're opening themselves up to agencies and to the marketing world to fill in the gaps where they have weaknesses. Every time a technology has weaknesses in terms of matching things up, they want marketers to be able to proactively fill in the gaps. And this gap may last for at least 5 years. I don't see anything on the horizon where the algorithm for Amazon is going to get smarter, or even start to do more on the penalty side, or have grammatical knowledge like Panda does, or feel like it's being manipulated like Penguin was.
And I think I'd add to that kind of what the objectives of Amazon are being different than Google. Google wants to give good quality results. That's why they saw that people were gaming the system and giving poor results. So that's why they put their penalties in place. Amazon wants to give results that sell, and their algorithm kind of proves it. So just because you stuff the keywords in there, let's say you're selling a bow tie and you put a garlic press in there. If you started selling for garlic press and there's no sales, eventually you're not going to rank for that word anymore pretty quickly because they've seen no sales from it. So basically, we use the analogy there of the tryout. So you're kind of saying the words you want to try out for, and then Amazon says, oh, do you think you can appear for that? Well, let's test it out. And you start appearing in results, and then if you start seeing sales, you start ranking higher. So it's really the sales are the proof. Amazon cares about making sales. They care about that 15% referral fee. So they really want to give results that are most likely to lead to them making money. And I guess there is this positive customer experience where, as a shopper on Amazon, you want to find that item. So they're accounting for the sale happening in a pretty quick period of time. So they want to give results on product pages that convert at a pretty good rate.
Yeah, and then I'll add even a third thing to that, and that's that with the product copy itself, the visible product copy, we are writing it in a way that is very natural, actually much more natural than someone would write for Google, because we're not paying attention to adhering to certain keyword densities. We're just writing copy that is extremely informative in providing the user all the information they need to make that purchase. On the back end, on the keyword field, it is true keyword stuffing. So, if Amazon comes out next year and says we don't want that anymore, then, those fields can be reworked or, worked in a way that is more favorable. But I think that the data will be there to easily do that. So it's not even if it is an imminent change that comes about in the next year or 5 years, it's not something that is going to really throw people off. It's very easily adaptable too.
One question is this webinar audio only? No. No, we've had 48 slides, I think, and we're just getting QA for a little while. So if you just joined us and are watching, then you've only seen the thank you screen, but the recording will be sent out later. So hopefully that clarifies that. Ralph is asking a question. So keyword stuffing is good for Amazon then, as long as the keywords result in sales. Otherwise, you're penalized. I think you guys are saying that not exactly the case of being penalized, but in some ways it's not. You're only going to get momentum where the keywords actually make sense, right?
Yeah, my interpretation, and like I said, nobody really knows the exact way Amazon's algorithm works. There's lots of, I'm sure, on-page triggers where they're kind of gauging the amount of time on site, how much, like they're actually recording sessions in terms of where they're hovering over parts of the bullet. So they're going off a lot of kind of leading indicators in terms of what ends up leading to a sale. So there's a lot of things that are accounting for, but the main one they're playing for is sales. So maybe there's a certain word out of your big list of keywords that you're appearing really well for. I think what they're really doing is kind of comparing your sales to the other ones that are that are in that space. Then we'll find that other word that maybe you're a little kind of more distantly related to that you added in there that you're not going to sell at as great a rate. They're going to probably compare you for that one other piece to the other ones and then kind of determine that, oh, this one they're not as good for. It's going to be lower in the rankings. I don't think that the downside of that second one will pull down the first one in a way that it will really hurt it. Like I said, no one knows exactly the way Amazon's algorithm works, but I think the benefits of being really exhaustive in this and just kind of what's gone on. I mean, they've gone from 250 characters to 1,000 characters to 5,000 characters. They wouldn't be doing that if they didn't see the positive impact for them. I mean, they're reporting to stockholders and they want to show that there's another year-over-year 20% lift in overall sales from them. So they want to be showing that it's a good experience. And if it wasn't having a positive impact, I think they wouldn't be doing it. But the 5,000 is getting to the point where it's almost like that's enough, Amazon. We don't need, that's already enough keywords right there.
Yep, and we're going to answer one last question. 65 people are still here in attendance. Thank you guys for staying for so long. Please, in the last few moments, if you could type in the questions box whether or not you found this to be valuable and what you thought of the presentation, we'd love that. The question is, do you know when the video recording will be available? If we are not sending a Blog Bites email, which if you have not been reading Blog Bites, it's our blog roundup. It's a fantastic read to get insights into marketing and online retail. If we're not sending one on Friday, then we'll send this out. Otherwise, we will likely send out Monday morning so that people who have questions can get answers from us quickly throughout the week instead of asking questions over the weekend, which I'm sure we would get. We set this out. Definitely valuable. Would like to see a future similar one on the relative benefits of specific types of ads as well. Okay, so a good one. That's good for us to be able to work with. Inga saying it's helpful. Steve saying great as usual. Much appreciated the info you gave freely, even if too small to presently use your service so far. Hopefully that changes, Steve. Thank you for the kind words. Logan Nolan, you guys did a great job. Thank you guys so much. And once again, folks, we'll send this recording out in the next few days. Thank you for the kind words as well that are coming in right now. And we will we'll have another webinar coming out in a few weeks. Most likely another one focused on Marketplace, so please look out for those invites. Thank you, Nolan. Thank you, Logan. Thank you, folks, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.